Clytus, I'm bored. What plaything can you offer me today?
An obscure body in the SK system, Your Majesty. The inhabitants refer to it as
The Ron Pertee Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron Pertee Show. You can see us this week, and not only that, you can hear us over at anchor.fm/the Ron Pertee Show, or Ron Pertee, I don't know. I'll tweet the link out at Real Ron Pertee, and all that kind of stuff. With me, as always, the ever-fetching, not the Queen of Fortnite this week, apparently. Queen of the Beaches, we'll say. Are you Bette Midler this week? Alison? How was your week?
It wasn't long enough.
You wanted a longer week?
Yeah, because it was a short week, so that meant it was only a 4-day school week, so that meant basically half of my life was over.
Oh, so you had that extra day where you had to deal with children and other fun things.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I want my extra day off. I mean, I'm glad Martin Luther King Jr. did all that stuff, but could his day be on a Sunday instead?
Yeah, I want him to have a day off. I just didn't realize that this whole entire school year was going to be 4-day school week. So
it's starting to look that way, but I mean, we had the students in my area have off today, but they're not outside causing trouble because, well, it looks like God's a cocaine addict and he sneezed really big because we are covered in snow, and it is, let me check here what the temperature is. It is a whopping 2 degrees right now.
Oh my goodness, how exciting.
No, that's not exciting. Not at all. I'm cold, and it's gray, and it's going to last me the rest of my life. That's what's going on.
And I think it was like 39, and I thought I was going to die, so I could only imagine what it's like at.
I went to the mall last night, and it was about 8 degrees.
Wow!
And I had to pick up. Now, mind you, my Jeep is down, so I had to take a ride share, which is always fun. We've discussed this last week. But when I'm at the mall, I'm waiting for my car to come. And the mall cop, or I don't know if he's an actual Racine cop who's stationed at the mall because, he did something stupid, like he put too much sugar in the captain's coffee or something. And he basically, the mall has these doors where you walk out and then there's like a little tiny area and then there's another set of doors. So like if people want to stand in there like what they're waiting for the bus or something. Well, I wasn't going to wait around for a bus to take me an hour to get me home, so I called rideshare. I had a coupon because Verizon's awesome, so I saved 50%, so that's great. But he kicked me out of the mall, out of the little area, because he was locking the doors. It's like, well, why don't you lock the inside doors and not worry about the outside doors and let me stay warm? Because they said on the news that you have 20 minutes outside in these conditions before you get hypothermia and frostbite. I was out there for 15 minutes waiting for my ride. And wow. I was in a hoodie. That's all I was in. Because I thought, real quick, I can wait in the mall. And nope. The mall cop was not having it.
He wanted to go home.
He'd have to wait because all the places were, like the businesses that were closing, he'd have to wait 20, 30 minutes for them to get done. So what's the deal?
I don't know. I guess he's jealous of you because you're famous.
Yeah, sure. That's, whew. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Then why didn't he escort me to my lift? If
I don't know.
So famous.
It was too cold.
Yeah, he got to stay warm. But no. I need to hire a driver. So,
you need to film this next time it happens.
I do. Oh, I will be like, hey, look at this, TMZ. The mall cop did something bad.
Right.
It's like, yeah, because Harvey's going to care about that.
Hey, he might. He cares about the oddest things.
I used to watch that when it was on in the afternoons here. It's not anymore. And I'm just like, this is like the weirdest stuff. I don't even understand.
Well, there's two versions of the show. There's the version where you have people like me that come on, and then there's the version where you just have the staff and Harvey.
Oh yeah,
So
where he's like, where
it
they're like
depends on
in the
what
bullpen,
version.
where they have like the bullpen thing, where they're all sitting around shooting the bull. I guess is the right way to put it.
Yes.
Yes, because everything in Hollywood is bull. Oh,
That's true.
I just can't.
That's why I like talking about it so much.
Well, I suppose. I mean, it's, and last week we had some people in the chat over on Facebook. I got to explain some stuff here in a second, but people complaining why we weren't talking about, like, up-to-the-minute stuff. Folks, if you don't know this already, the show is pre-recorded. So when you're watching this, everything is old already.
Yes.
Everything is old. Like, I'm farting dust at this point because I'm old. But no, and so it's not up to the minute because we can't be up to the minute. So that's,
I mean, up to the minute. I mean, well, we're up to like at least this week.
well, and that's the thing. Like, why aren't we talking about stuff that Mitch McConnell did? And because we were talking about the kids and everything, and we should probably from now on wait till we do a story like that until we have all the information. I mean, granted, it didn't make the kids look any better, but there would have been more stuff we could have crapped on them about.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there were a lot of different changes that happened throughout the week with that story, but it's still, to me, kind of appalling. But we'll talk about it a little bit.
It is appalling. I mean, but I think maybe, and how often are you going to hear somebody say, maybe we should have waited a little bit, but, whatever. It is. But
well, wait until they tell you the news headline just today.
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
Dropped this morning.
Oh, boy. Is it about Roger Stone? Because that's...
No, it's actually about the student, Nick's lawyer.
Oh, boy. All right, we'll get to that in just a second. I just want to tell everybody real quick, if you want to see a premiere of the episode that you're watching right now, so I guess you have to be watching this later to know about yeah, it's confusing, but just bear with me. Go to facebook.com/The Ron Pertee Show, and you can watch this at 9 o'clock Eastern every Sunday night. And we'll have it up there for you to premiere before it goes on YouTube, before it goes up as a podcast. And you can go to anchor.fm/Ron Pertee. I don't know. I'll tweet it out. Like I said, I don't know exact. You know what? Let me look it up. Let me look it up here. But no, you can go there and you can see all that cool stuff. And this is so professional. But you know what?
The same way about my life. Are you kidding me? Don't worry about it.
I just don't care anymore at this point.
Figure it out when they look at the bottom and they click.
Yeah, so it's anchor.fm/The Ron Pertee Show. That actually sends everything out to all of the usual podcast places. So you go there and listen to it there. You can help support the show because there's ads and stuff. Or you can still find it on iTunes. I'm still waiting for iTunes because there's a lot of people backed up from the holiday.
Right.
Apparently iTunes have furloughed workers too. Who knows? But then the where is it? Stitcher, Google Play, Breaker Audio, all sorts of places. So you cannot. Spotify. So that's cool. You cannot say that you can't hear or watch this show anymore. And you can also watch the show at youtube.com/Ron Pertee. It's up there, along with other nifty little videos that I like to post during the week. So now where can folks find you while we're still here talking about promoting fighting?
You know what? I'm in the same different locations that you are. Spotify, iTunes, the whole network. I mean, just look up straightoutofmotherhood.com. You can go to Lips and Feed, whatever you want to do. Look me up. I'm everywhere. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok.
You're on TikTok? Everywhere. I tried going on TikTok, but it was like, it said, like it sent me a notification saying, "Hey, girl." I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. I'm a big guy. And
listen,
I got some, yeah, but I mean, really?
It's TikTok robots, I swear. They're like, you'll just say something and they'll be like, I really like that song. You're like, really?
Yeah, okay. Well, that's why I deleted it, because it was getting a little ridiculous.
Whatever, I'm pretty famous. There have 350 some people that want to follow me around every day.
Well, that's also kind of stalkerish. That's kind of it's a little weird.
That's not actually famous. That's like an average white girl's wedding.
Well, not only that, but I remember like when I was like 15 or 16, and I had a zine. Remember zines from way back in the day? I used to have one, and the thing about that is that's when I first started interviewing people. So at like 15 years old, I'm almost 40. I've been doing this a long time. The problem is back then when you have to mail out, say, 100 zines, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I'm popular. Now, if I get 100 views on a YouTube video, it's like, oh, so the people down the street watched it. That was basically what it was, because 100 views at this point is just kind of like, it's kind of like just throwing a coin in the ocean, because it doesn't matter.
I feel awkward too when I go places and people give me that look like they know me but they don't, and I want to think that they are going to come up to me and be like, I know you, and they know, and then I'm like,
well, I have the weird distinction where people know me that I don't know, and in town. Which is weird, because they'll come up to me like, oh, hey, brr, 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 this other stuff. And I'm just like, sure. And then I'll look at my buddy like, who was that? I don't know who that was.
Happens to me every day. I went to my high school reunion. And
oh, God.
I was like, really? You remember me?
My high school was weird. It was a quote-unquote alternative high school. So they, what ended up happening is we had all class reunions. So anybody who went there could come to the reunion.
I love it.
So I'm, class of '97.
Graduated.
Yeah, it's like I'm class of '97, and you got people from like class of 1980 who are there, and they're like, "And who are you?" And I'm like, what are you? Why? What?
Oh, I would have probably been at your reunion because I was class of '98.
Yeah, you probably would have. And this year is 22 years I've been out of high school.
Isn't that crazy?
I feel so old.
Me too.
Whenever I take a shower, I check for gray on both ends now. I can't, I don't know if I mean, I got a buddy telling me, he's like, oh, in a couple of years, you're going to have to start shaving your head because you're starting to lose your hair. I'm like, shut up. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just seen Alison's ceiling, which is made of wood, and it's a nice dark finished wood. I think it's oak.
It is.
Oh, look at that, see? It's just like Antiques Roadshow. Well, it's a nice mahogany, and I don't know anything else about Antiques Roadshow because I stopped watching PBS when they stopped airing old Doctor Who. So
really, because I totally watch Antique Roadshow like weekly.
See, all that does is make me want to go up into my attic, because when we moved in here, we know there's an attic up there, but we haven't been up in it, and we don't want to go up in it. And it's one of those weird things where you have to get a ladder and you have to push up the thing, and it's almost like playing a Resident Evil game where you have to find all these different things to do the one thing. And knowing my luck, I'm letting like a suitcase of $100 bills sit up there, and I don't know about it. And then one day I'll have to leave the house, and someone will move in and be like, hey, there's a suitcase full of $100 bills. Like, damn it.
Those years when you got stoned and you hide stuff.
Well, I think it was my grandpa that hid stuff. He was. I remember when he got sick, we moved. We came and we moved in here because he wasn't coming home, and we moved in, and he's like, we're like, well, let's get his stuff together, like his wallet and all that other kind of stuff, and like, oh, there's an envelope at the back of the dresser. And there's $3,000 worth of 20s sitting there. Yeah, so that was nice. That paid for a bunch of stuff that needed to be taken care of.
I love old people.
Yeah, exactly. And then you find out how much they got in the bank when they're gone. It's like, oh, well, what was that about you not being able to borrow me $10 so I could get a couple of gallons of gas in my car? Yeah.
I had some family like that. Oh, we could go on for hours on that one.
Yeah, that family is horrible. Like I'm looking outside right now, and it just depresses me because I have a window right here. It's just horrible.
I came from a very wealthy family on my dad's side, and I always got $25 because my brother was the namesake, so I was nothing. And my grandma in her last years kept telling everyone, "Oh, I'm so poor. I don't have any money." We sold her house for $3.5 million after she passed away, and she had a nice little nest egg. And I still only got about $25 in inheritance.
Well, you can't carry on the name because when you get married, you're gonna take your husband's name like a good girl. So you know how it is. Billy.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of, the whole thing is, family is so weird. So, we got a little bit of time here before the break. We've been jabbering on like a couple of monkeys in a tree. Thank you, Forrest. What have we got in the news here? What's going on? What was on TMZ?
Well, speaking of weddings, I think it's really interesting that Crystal Harris, do you remember the girl that married Hugh Hefner right before he died?
Yes. Yes.
Well, right before he passed away, he purchased her a piece of property that he wanted to leave her in his will. And she recently sold it last week for $5 million. But the kicker is that she wasn't happy about it.
She wasn't happy that her 80-some-odd-year-old dead pornographer husband left her $5 million worth of land?
Right, exactly. Well, she was only married to him from December 31st of 2012 till September of 2017. She originally listed the Hollywood Hills house for $7.2 million, only ended up getting $5 million for it. But this is the kicker. This is where Hef really scored. Hef only paid $5 million for it. He made sure, whatever he was going to purchase her, that she wasn't going to upgrade just because she was sleeping with him. So I definitely have to give Hef a high five on that one.
Well, he's not stupid.
He wasn't stupid at all. You know, I looked up a couple interesting Hugh Hefner facts I thought we could share in this article.
Oh,
Did you know that Hef was damn near deaf at the end of his life because of all the Viagra use that he used?
He was deaf because of the little blue boner pills?
Absolutely. And he did even claim that he'd rather be deaf than not have sex.
Well, I can't blame him. I mean, I guess I can't blame him.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was interesting, too. When Hef became a father, the Playmates at Play signs turned to Children at Play. So it just goes to show, even if you're a Playboy, your wife and your children can still take over your empire.
I guess. I mean, you hear stories about people doing things at the Playboy mansion, and it's kind of... it's crazy. And the reason I'm on my phone is because I'm looking up, and that we're very transparent here on the Ron Pertee Show. I'm looking up to see if whether or not the word I used is okay with the FCC, but I think it is.
And did you know that
they're not working right now anyway, right?
It was undated, the first Playboy. He didn't even know if there was going to be a second. So we can just consider this show like Hef considered the first Playboy episode. We'll know that we'll be in a pool somewhere with some people doing something amazing with trillions of dollars.
Well, you don't see. I'll be doing the amazing things. You're married, so you will be doing amazing things with your husband.
What are you talking about? I'm married. Me and my husband will be doing amazing things. We've been married for 20 years.
Boy, you see now now we're, because thanks to Hef, we're learning something about each other here. I had no idea that you basically got married right out of high school.
Actually, no, I actually met my husband when I was 23. It took me 9 years to land that sucker into a marriage. And I've been married 8 years now, but it's been 17. So yeah.
Okay. So you met him. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of like relationships that are pretty open, the next story that I thought was pretty interesting. This came out on Mirror.com this week. There is a polyamorous couple.
Ooh.
That actually survive by drinking their donor girlfriend's blood every month.
I'm sorry. They what?
They drink her blood every month.
Oh, I mean, like, is it? How does that? Do they actually like slice her open and drink it, or is it like they have her donated into like a little tube, and then they're like, "Oh, this is quite a little sweet this month, aren't you, Emily?"
Well, this is pretty interesting. Logan and Daly South, they're both married. They're pretty open about the blood drinking type of situation that they're doing. They basically say that they use a diabetes device to prick the girlfriend's finger every month And that's how they're able to get their blood supply. The couple claims that as vampires, it takes human energy to survive. You know what I mean? So they use blood as a form of energy, or they use psychic energy, or they use sexual energy. Any one of those energies are super important. Now, the interesting part is that the wife doesn't think it's very sexual, but Logan, the 32-year-old husband, of course, he definitely thinks that he is drawn to the intimacy and sexuality of drinking someone's blood. Now, his wife claims that there is a sense of a very sexual nature in it, being that you're, being a part of somebody. But they're very open about their polyamorous relationship, and they're going to be featured on the reality show Extreme Love. So in the next couple weeks, you'll be able to see that episode.
Okay, you know what Extreme Love is? Is when you when you meet someone online and you kind of fall head over heels for them, but then you realize that they're a cuckoo bird, and you fall out of heels, or however that works, and they start doing some weird stuff, like they start calling you and telling you that they're pregnant, even though when you do the timeline, they are like 5 months off as to the last time. Yeah, and it's like, oh well, I remember when she called me and told me that. I was like, well, congratulations to you and whoever the father is.
Well, let me tell you, I had a friend that happened to. He was from North Dakota, blonde hair and blue eyes, and she had red hair and green eyes. And when that little Hispanic baby popped out, we're talking about a full head of hair, Maria.
That's wow.
Beautiful, beautiful baby. But guess what? It was not his, and it was only a $30 Walgreens paternity test, and a couple ounces of common sense for him to figure out that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but here's the thing: is I go to the dollar store, and there's paternity tests now at the dollar store. It's like, really, is that for the dollar condoms that broke?
You know what? I think it's actually a great thing. I think the more readily these things are available, the less that we have to deal with these people coming to court claiming, I don't know if it's my baby. I don't know. Like, I am tired of watching people like, you have spread your seed all over and you don't know if it's your baby.
Well, I mean, you know what? We actually need stupid people like that, because if there was no stupid people like that, there'd be no Maury Povich, and if there was no Maury Povich, then guest and friend of the show Steven Sapellis wouldn't have a job. So, shout out to Steven, and I hope Hot and Nerdy is doing great. Hit him up on Twitter and stuff if you haven't.
Well, we're going to keep rolling into this whole relationship, because I feel like this whole week of stories is about relationships. The next one I think is very interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard of anyone that's ever been like this woman, but her name is Pascal Selleck. She's 49 years old, and she is now planning a lavish wedding with her duvet cover.
Oh my God. This is what we were afraid of with the Republicans, okay? This is exactly what we were afraid of.
We're concerned about who's running our country. Well, let me tell you about Pascal. She is organizing a lavish ceremony with the help of a wedding planner to celebrate the love of her wedding. She has an open invitation to everyone, because we're going to get to that. But she came out with a quote that says, "My duvet is the longest, strongest, most intimate and reliable relationship that I have ever had. And because of that, and because of the hugs it gives me, I'll be ready to wed." So she's going to be providing music, a ceremony, laughs, and entertainment at her wedding, where she will be wearing a nightgown. She hasn't revealed exactly what her groom will be wearing, but she's encouraged the public to come wearing pajamas, onesies, slippers, robes. And the ceremony will be held on February 10th at the Rosemont Garden exterior in Devonport, followed by a free wedding party at the Glorious Art House on 4th Street. She's even hired Ann Fitzgerald of Woohoo Arts Events to plan this wedding.
Okay.
But the interesting part is that she describes herself as a rude, crude, and particular exhibitionist. So she is just not going to get married to a man unless.
This is okay. Here's the thing about all this. This is what I meant by this is what I was afraid of with Republicans, because here it is. Because remember when the gay marriage became legal and everybody was like, oh well, what next? Are they going to want to marry their dog or marry their door handle? This woman is just playing into that and helping to the Republicans and the GOP to kind of push aside gay marriage. So thanks a lot, ma'am.
I think that I agree with you in that aspect, but I also think that if more crazy people married their duvet covers instead of marrying 14-year-old girls that they found off of Craigslist or their third cousin on their mom's side or me, I would be grateful. I feel like it could be like a population control type of situation. Some of these people you really don't want to like procreate won't. Because they're making out with cotton.
I hear you. And if only Melania had married the hair instead of the man, everything would be so much better. You're listening. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get back to this in just a second here. This is the Ron Pertee Show, and we'll be right back. For you, the listeners of the Ron Pertee Show, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I recommend Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman, read by Nick Offerman. It's just amazing to hear him read the book and add little things here and there. It's just fantastic. And there's just Amy Poehler's got one, Tina Fey. If you're a fan of comedy, a fan of autobiographies, definitely some stuff to check out. So head over to download your free audiobook today. Go to audibletrial.com/Ron Show. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Ron Show for your free audiobook. And we're back, everybody. I'm, oh boy, thinking about inanimate objects to marry in my house. I have a tote full of yarn that looks comfy. Maybe it's a cuddler. So yeah, if you've missed out on the first half of the program, where were you, and what is wrong with you? You're listening and watching The Ron Pertee Show. You can find everything over at ron.world, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealRonPertee. And you can follow my co-host, Alison Barrera, on... I keep forgetting your Instagram.
My Instagram is Alison Barrera1.
There you go.
And I'm for everything else, and then you can also check me out at straightoutofmotherhood.com.
Boom.
And on
See?
YouTube as well.
There you go. Perfect. Fantastic. Now we got all the business out of the way. We can get into some serious stuff here because we had our little fun in the first half of the show, but now we got to get down to brass tacks. We got to get down to the nitty-gritty, as it were. What's going on with the kids from DC?
Well, you know what? A lot unfolded since last week when we talked about it. I mean, when we initially sat down and had the conversation, it was literally hours after this situation happened. Most news media outlets hadn't even gotten a response from anyone that they had even reached out to. Right. So in retrospect, the Today Show with Savannah Guthrie interviewed the student Nick. Can I just say, I hate to interrupt you, but can I just put this out there before things get too serious? Savannah Guthrie, call me. I know, on. Right?
Yeah. Oof.
Call.
Yes, call me. Yeah, don't call her, and she'll get a hold of me.
Call me if you want to hang out. We'll talk about it.
Well, wait, she's my wing person. Go on now. Now, what about this punk ass?
So, well, the thing is like, everyone was like, oh, well, and a lot of people reached out to me on social media and they were like, well, why are you so angry at the students? Aren't you concerned about the black activists, super activists that were behind them? But let's go ahead and talk about this situation. We're in Washington, D.C. We have activist groups that are there that are protesting, and then we have high school students that walk up. Now, regardless of what anyone says, the behavior of the high school students to me as a parent, maybe not to someone else, was highly offensive. As a parent who was also involved with high school students, involved with PTA, going to high school events, being a chaperone, that alarmed me that the chaperone allowed the students to interact. So what happened? The students were there. The black activists were there. The black activists were yelling at the students. The students were chanting back at the activists. The Native American Indian came to stand in the middle to kind of break it apart. which ended up making the high school students look like entire idiots to me. Right?
Right.
So now we interviewed this Nick Sandman. He sits there this week with a completely straight face, like, I didn't want to be disrespectful.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Vicky from Small Wonder.
Right? I mean, it was a robot effect. I don't believe I owe him an apology.
Yeah, you do.
I'm a Catholic student. I didn't do anything wrong. I wouldn't walk away. You stood there with a smile on your face 3 inches from the man. You encountered back and forth badgering. What about the other student that was with his shirt off?
Yeah.
That was jumping and gyrating around. You know
or,
what I mean?
or the one who thought it was okay to dance to what the guy was doing. This isn't something that, yeah, I mean, no, there's no. You know what, though? This is the kind of situation where the only person that is not at fault here is Nathan Phillips, the Native American. Because he stepped in to try and stop the whole thing. I mean, you've got, and this is the only time I'm saying this, saying you got bad people on both sides. You got the bad people on both sides.
Well, it's like they pinpointed Nathan Phillips. They tried to question him about his involvement in Vietnam and everything to do. It's like, you're kidding me right now. So this is what happened since. So after the interview happened with the student, everyone was like, oh my God, he's the poor student. Why are you so mad at him? His lawyer has come out with a statement today. TMZ dropped this morning at 3:30 this morning. Get this. His lawyer, by the name of Rob Sanders, has issued a statement warning prison sentences for school threats. So basically, he's representing the Covington High School students seeking incarceration for any people threatening Sandman's teachers, classmates, himself, or the school themselves with a Class D felony. And it is also prosecutable for up to 1 to 5 years in the state penitentiary.
Well, now here's the thing about that, though, is, I mean, how are you supposed to look like you're better than someone or that you are on a higher plane than someone if you go and you threaten these people? Go on, you know what? Go online and talk about how bad they are and how horrible they are and shame them, sure, but don't make threats. You're just as bad as they are.
Exactly. And I mean, for a high school student group, my student has actually traveled in one of those groups. And they're told to stand and listen and to pay attention and to be quiet and not to engage in the crowd and to stay together. So there are still a lot of people that need to definitely come forward and to be questioned. And I don't think Nathan Phillips is someone that needs to be questioned. I think furthermore, yes, under scrutiny is a high school student. I get that he's a minor and he doesn't make great decisions because he's a teenager. But maybe his parents should release a statement.
Oh, they hired damage control, though.
Exactly.
Which means that they're loaded. You know what I mean? So, of course, they're trying to make it go away. That's all.
So now people are calling and threatening to burn the school down and to shoot him and all this and that. And listen to anyone that listens to the show. Like, I don't highly suggest you threaten anyone's life, but I definitely believe that we live in a country where you should speak your truth and what you believe in. And if you want to call him again and talk to him about it, we could drop some links at the bottom of this show with some phone numbers and some information.
I can't believe that people are threatening the school. I mean, okay, granted, there's a lot of other stuff that's come out from the school that's been bad, like the blackout thing where everybody's coloring their face black, and I, okay, man, this is
not the black face is not okay yet. I grew up in an all black neighborhood.
Yeah.
I knew that. I didn't even know that I wasn't black until I was like 7 and a lady threw a rock at me. So it's like we don't as parents, our kids aren't just born like this. It's things that we do that we teach them. It's like it was like driving on the street when my parents would see a guy in a nice car. They go, "Oh, you see that guy? He's a drug dealer." Really, I thought everyone that had a BMW was a drug dealer. I didn't realize that you actually, if you did drugs, you drove a Pinto.
Well, now, as long as the dealer isn't sampling his own stuff, I'm pretty sure a dealer could drive a BMW, but the user...
Right,
yeah,
better advice, date the dealer, don't date the user.
Exactly. You don't want to date the guy who's doing the meth. You want to date the guy that you want to date the Bryan Cranston, not the tweakers.
You want to date the scientist, The man
Exactly.
behind the myth.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is.
So this is pretty interesting. Are you a sporty person?
Um, I have a butt groove in my couch, so I would say no.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not very sporty, but I watch the Super Bowl. Do you watch the Super Bowl?
Well, when the Packers are in it, and as we all know, the Packers are not in it this year. We get to see another year with Tom Brady, so that'll be fun.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh God, that one reminds me of another story I saw in the news. But well, CBS is coming under fire this week because they banned medical marijuana ad from the Super Bowl.
I didn't realize that their money was no good.
This is absolutely insane. CBS rejects an ad, even though it's incredibly moving and emotional. It was produced by the Arkridge Holdings marijuana and cannabis investment company firm, and they were willing to pay $5 million for this position with CBS, and CBS declined their offer. The commercial, it basically followed three different stories. It followed a boy that had hundreds of seizures every day. It followed a man that was addicted to opiates that used marijuana to wean off of opiates. And it also followed a veteran that was an amputee and used marijuana for pain. And so the point of pushing for ads like this is to push legalization nationwide because we have 30 states that are already using it for medical use. But CBS says that at this time they don't allow ads regarding marijuana on television.
Okay, so who was this again? The Atlas.
This was CBS that declined it, and the company that came out with it was the Acreage Holdings Marijuana and Cannabis Investment Firm.
Okay, Acreage. I want you to listen to me very carefully. This is what you do. I don't want you to try and appeal the fact that you can't get it on the Super Bowl, okay? Because all the commercials on the Super Bowl, they end up on the internet anyway. All right, so all that money that these people paid to have their commercial during the Super Bowl is stupid to me. I want you to take that $5 million and I want you to put this ad out and I want you to push it on Facebook, push it on Twitter, push it on Instagram. When they say see where you can sponsor something, put that $5 million is going to reach a whole lot farther on the internet than it's going to reach on the Super Bowl. All right, and there's no guarantee that it's going to have any kind of a replay value like a lot of these other ads will. So what you do is you just put that $5 million into the net. And you just promote, because you're going to reach more people online than you are in a commercial at the Super Bowl, because let's be honest, it's cool to be a nerd now. How many nerds do you know give a rat's behind about Tom Brady versus whoever the quarterback for the Rams is?
Right, exactly.
So go out there and take that $5 million, go on the internet, and just push. If I don't see this ad on Facebook being shoved down my throat, or being on Instagram or anywhere, if I don't see this ad, like if I go to a website, like if I go to what website do I go to a lot? If I go to bloodydisgusting.com, and I know it sounds bad, but just bear with me. If I don't see that ad on the side, like you haven't bought a spot on bloodydisgusting.com or on E's website or Extra or all these places,
absolutely,
your reach is far greater on the internet than it is over on a Super Bowl ad. That being said, I'm looking forward to finding out what the hell Jeff Bridges is doing dressed up like the dude.
Right. Well, I do have to say that I don't think it's going to cost half as much to put your ads on Facebook. I feel like you should take that $5 million, put it back into the communities, start giving it to people and families in need. I think the more people that see your investment firm doing things like that, let's face it, almost everyone nationwide is pro marijuana except for like 3 people. And their last
they all live in Wisconsin.
Regard into like Sessions.
But he's not the attorney general anymore, so he doesn't matter.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, it's like 3 people out there, honestly.
There's a remarkable amount of people, because we had a referendum or whatever here in the last election, that a remarkable amount of people who voted no. Like, it was like 70-30. It wasn't an overwhelming, or it might have been 80-20, but there was still some people out there. But that's the point, is it doesn't affect you, because if you don't want to smoke it, don't smoke it. No one is shoving it down your throat.
Honestly, I mean, we're prescribing opiates to people, and they're standing in the street with their pants down, like slapping their butts and like throwing rocks at you and talking to invisible aliens.
I'm supposed to be on opiates to do that? Because I was just doing it.
People at home smoke marijuana, get some stuff done. You know, I mean, it's
guess,
ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, I always thought that the standing outside with your butt hanging out throwing rocks at people, I just did that. I don't take opiates to do it. I just do it.
Well, you know, I guess that's true. I know a couple other people that do it.
Well, let's not put Shaggy's business out there when he's not here to defend himself.
Oh, man. Well, you know, the last thing that I saw today that I thought was interesting, you know, just because I work with TMZ a lot, and also the fact that marijuana is being legalized, it's for people like this person in particular, DMX.
Oh, he's getting out of jail.
He's been released out of jail and out of federal prison after serving 1 year for tax evasion. He was released Friday morning from Blidner Federal Correctional Institute in West Virginia. He's due to drop an album as well as a movie project that might be a biopic, but he's about to fork over $2.3 million in restitution to Uncle Sam. And according to sources, he's supposed to be attending an outpatient program for substance and mental abuse, although I don't think that an outpatient program is going to work for him. It's proven in the past it hasn't.
That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about that they think his barking is mental illness.
Right? Exactly.
It's part of his. It's part of his deal. I mean, okay, granted. I mean, I don't. When I barked.
Have you seen him on Ayama Fix My Life when his son came on?
No. I should watch this stuff, but I don't.
She did a really good program. It was a good therapy program. She really tried to work with him to try to get to the core of his issues. He has some mental issues, and he's just had drugs in the system for so long. So I hope that medical marijuana can be legalized for people like him.
Yeah.
That can use it, you know, and I hope we just need to put him somewhere. Lock him up in a room, put a sofa, a little TV, some snacks.
Because he's going to be so high from the pot, he's going to need them sun chips.
Yeah, you know, he can do his little music. He won't hurt anybody. He's not R. Kelly.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I'm taking DMX over R. Kelly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, but let's talk about this real quick. This is a happy topic.
Okay.
Let's talk about the fact that Chris Brown's going to get away with it again.
This was mind-boggling to me as well. Every interview that you see with Chris Brown, you see that he's mentally unstable. He has to have 3 people on the sides of him in every interview because he's so mentally unstable. They have to be close enough to tell him to shut up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, at what point are we?
We're in a generation where we're talking about, you know, #MeToo, but this R. Kelly thing brought a huge point up. Black women are never valued when it comes to the things that they say, according to situations like this, like rape and stuff like that. That they automatically assume because she went to a hotel room with him that she wanted it. You know, I go to hotel rooms with people because I want to get to know them and be famous. I don't necessarily do it because I want to like hook up.
It's like when we talked about the hall pass last week, and you said no for your husband, but you know, hey, you know, I'm gonna play the double standard card, and I get a hall pass.
No, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that. I mean, I've been with my husband long enough that I don't even consider that. Like, when you're in a relationship with someone you're supposed to be with, you turn that crap off. So it's like, I could be in a room with 40 naked dudes that all want me, and it still wouldn't matter to me because I'm married to my husband, and that's who I physically choose mentally and physically to be with every day.
Well, so, plus, like, I mean, 40 naked guys would be a little weird.
Maybe not. But, you know, like, DMX invited me to a room, you know, my husband would be like, go. He wouldn't worry about me doing anything. I wouldn't go with the pre like content idea that I was gonna like do something. So,
well, maybe you guys would just spend the entire night up barking.
Or maybe she was drinking a lot and they knew that she was getting to that point of being able to control those things, and they took advantage of that.
Which is exactly what happens a lot of the times, and that's why. And I this is what makes watching SVU so much harder now, because when you watch it, you're just like, wow, that was ripped right from the headlines. You know, that's horrible.
I know, it's sad. We would have thought that we would have learned from Rihanna, but you still have girls paying to him to go to his concerts that are still throwing themselves on him. And we just live in a generation where it doesn't matter what you look like. You could have dog poop on your face, get on a stage with a guitar and a mic and about 10,000 people behind you, sing la-di-da, even if you suck. And I promise you 40 girls are going to be there that are going to want to come home with you, be with you forever.
Okay, let me hold on one second, folks. I'm going to go on my Amazon app and order a guitar because...
Okay.
Yeah, I got, and then, does somebody have any dog poop laying around? Because I'd like to smear some on my forehead, and,
That worked for me. I walked around the earth hundreds of years looking for a husband. No one offered to marry me. I know girls that have had thousands of proposals, and I didn't have one, so.
But you found the one that was right for you, though, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you weren't, just because you were out there looking doesn't mean that you were settling on anyone.
Well, I think in this day and age, people are too instant gratification. I felt like I had a list of core things that I wanted. It wasn't like a physical thing. It was like things that I wanted. And I would go on dates and I would check down the list. And if you didn't check off, then I wasn't going to date you anymore. Don't waste my time. I won't waste yours,
Right.
When you find someone you're supposed to be with, you invest in them and you invest in the crappy parts of them. So all the crappy, cruddy parts that you don't like about them, it's like I tell my daughter, okay, Ron, if you meet a chick, find the 3 worst things about her. If you can deal with those 3 worst attributes, you can be in a long-term relationship with her.
Oh, man.
Then you cannot.
I can get a little weird, like my last woman I dated was kind of obsessed with Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
But was she obsessed with cooking or cleaning?
Yeah, actually, she was. So that was kind of... See, this is where things get weird. And plus, she said that Nick Carter was her hall pass, and I said, okay, fine. But
Creepy.
then, for me, it's creepy. But then I said, fine, then I get one. And when I told her who it was, she looked at me like, I don't even know who this is, so it'd be like you're cheating on me. It's like, well, what do you think you're doing with Nick Carter?
And Nick Carter's like, it's like, you feel like a pedophile. Like, who's Nick Carter? Is he like He's like Disney. He's like bleach blonde hair. He was like the guy who was supposed to be Justin Bieber that never actually got that far.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, Mr. Backstreet Boy, but I mean, it's not like I was dating a 19-year-old and it was that creepy, She was like, I'm such a horrible guy, I don't even remember how old she was. But anyway.
She wasn't knowing.
But the point is, I said that and I hope she's listening to this, not my ex.
What was your hall pass? Please do tell.
Yeah, I'm hoping my hall pass is listening, because I think she's the perfect woman for me. She's funny, she's sexy, and she's smart, and her name is Rachel Bloom.
Really? I like her.
Yeah, she is like, wow. I mean, when she did that one song about Ray Bradbury, I'm like, okay, first off, that's super smart and nerdy, because you're talking about Ray Bradbury. B, holy hell, that was hot. And C, it was funny. So I'm like, that's okay. It's one of those things when you talk about making a movie, okay, you can make it fast, and cheap, and good. Those are the 3 ways you can make a movie. You can make a good cheap movie, but you can't make it fast. You can make it. Right. You can make a fast cheap movie, but it won't be good. All right, you can make a good fast movie, but it won't be cheap. And I understand that you're not going to get all 3. So I would gladly take, I mean, since we're getting to that point in the show where it's time to find Ron a woman, I would gladly take, I mean, there's funny, smart, and sexy. I mean, I would take a funny, smart girl or a sexy, funny girl.
Like, you have to get a little bit deeper, like.
Right, but when you meet somebody, that's on the surface, okay? Because everybody who ever said to me, well, you need somebody who is a good person. It's like, yeah, but when you first see them, you don't know what kind of a person they are. You have to be attracted to them in some way.
I don't have a hall pass. Like, to be perfectly honest, there's no one in Hollywood that I think, I used to think Liam Neeson was cute because he, like, saves little girls and stuff. For, like, an old man.
Are you gonna go see? Are you gonna go? Hey, you're going out. You're buzzing again. Are you gonna go see Cold Pursuit?
No.
Because it's just like Taken, but with a dead kid this time, and it's in the snow.
I have to lay off. I have to lay off of Liam Neeson movies for a while.
Well, he's like this generation's Charles Bronson. Because
you know who I am gonna meet? Guess who I am gonna meet at a? I've gotten a personal invite to a VIP party next weekend.
Oh boy, who?
George Lopez.
Oh boy. Don't ask him how he feels about Conan O'Brien basically stealing his time slot.
I was gonna pee on his star, like for fun, like at the bar.
I'm sure he'd love that. Like,
Papa's.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing, Sabaske? I mean, and that's the one line I remember from the George Lopez show. He used to say that all the time. And I don't speak much Spanish. If I went to Mexico, I would be dead.
Ron, are you kidding me? I'm married to a Puerto Rican. His mom is a Spanish broadcaster. He doesn't even speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I tried to speak Spanish to her one time. She told me, "What is that?"
That's kind of funny. That's kind of fun. So, can your mother-in-law hook me up with Sofia Vergara?
She probably could. She works for the Yankees, so she sees everybody.
Oh, geez, she works for the Yankees. Let's not talk about the Yankees. Let's not, they pay all that money for A-Rod, and he does nothing in the postseason.
I know.
See, I don't play sports, but I know something about them. I'm more of a baseball guy.
Yeah, me too.
You're a guy?
I am a baseball person.
Yeah, well,
I used to be a guy. It's something no one knew about me.
You learn something new. Yeah. See, and then when I write the description up for this episode, Ron talks about how Rachel Bloom is his hall pass, and Alison talks about how she used to be a man.
That's right.
That's great. I hope your husband's not sitting right there watching while this is going on.
No, he's actually working for once.
Oh, he's out there making that money while you're talking about how you went through the transition.
Yep.
And see, this is another thing, is we're making jokes about transsexuals in a weird way. And I think that people should just realize that if you can say what you want as long as it's funny.
Right. And it's not hurting anyone. Actually, I'm going to be doing a future podcast because we're doing a Parenting With series. We thought, how about parenting with a guy who has a sex change and tries to out-mom you?
That, there you go. That's a new approach to things. That's something.
Think about that.
Yeah, that would be.
Think about that just for a second. Imagine that.
I mean, maybe I'm a little. Yeah, that's kind of driving me crazy. That's. All right. That's wow. Okay. Oh boy. On that note, don't forget to head to Ron.world for all the information on everything. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at RealRonPerty. You can follow Alison on Instagram at AlisonBarrera1. And don't forget to listen to Straight Outta Motherhood over at straightoutofmotherhood.com. I'm sure it lists what podcast forums it's on, right?
All of them.
It's on all of them. Just type in
all of them.
Just type in Straight Outta Motherhood, huh? Do that, would you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Don't forget to head to the website. We kind of have merch. There's T-shirts, I guess. Yep. I don't know if the link is going to work, but hit me up on Twitter if it's not working, and I'll go, and I'll just send you a link, and everything will be fine. So I want to thank you all for listening. For Alison, this is Ron. Don't forget to feed the fish.